Welcome back, students. Today we will deal with a new topic, that is uterine fibromyoma. What is uterine fibromyoma? Introduction, we will see first. These are the benign tumors of the uterine wall. These are the fibroids. Fibroids, also called as myoma, leiomyoma. Nowadays it is called as fibromyoma. So what is the definition? It is the benign growth arising from the smooth muscle layer of the uterus containing fibrous tissue as admixture. So 5 to 20% women in their reproductive age are reported to have fibroids. So it is a so common disorder. Most commonly, it is a monoclonal benign tumor of the uterus. It is arising in the smooth muscle, which is a myometrium. It contains large aggregation of extracellular matrix consisting of collagen, elastin, fibronectin and proteoglycan. Now, each fibroid is derived from smooth muscle cells, rest. Few may derive from the vascular, it is called as from vessel wall. What is the etiology? Actually, most of the fibroids, it is considered the etiology is unknown. So we can say precise cause of fibroid is not known. Advances have been made in understanding the molecular biology of this benign tumor and their dependence on the genetic, hormonal and growth factors. So these three may be the cause which are considered after certain studies. We will see first genetic causes. Fibroids are monoclonal and about 40% have chromosomal abnormalities. Which are the chromosomal abnormalities? That includes translocation between chromosome 12 and 14. Deletions of chromosome 7, it is deleted. Then trisomy of chromosome, usually seen in 12, that is in large tumors. So 60% may have yet undetected mutations. This is due to mutations in the genes. Actually, what happens in the mutations in the genes? Here, the fibroid receptors, which are receptors over the estrogen and progesterone. Now, these fibroid cells are receptors. They are very easily acted by estrogen and progesterone. These estrogen and progesterone are produced by the aromatase enzyme. Aromatase enzyme stimulates androgen to produce estrogen and progesterone, and this binds the myometrial cell, which is further leading to multiple myoma growing. So one cell will be multiplied into many. So mitogenesis occurs. At the same time, simultaneously, this estrogen and progesterone upgrades the growth factor. That is the reason why these growth factors are increased, and we will see which are those growth factors. But this is the reason why the tumor is increased during pregnancy and premenopausal age group. Other causes are hormonal causes. This is most important in the development of the fibroid. These hormones both increase in number of responsiveness of receptors of estrogen. So another important cause is hormonal cause. Both increase in number and responsiveness of receptors for estrogen and progesterone appears to promote fibroid growth, as they are rarely found before puberty and develop and increase during reproductive period of life. So also they are found to increase during pregnancy and they regress after menopause. Means fibroids are rare before puberty and after menopause, but they are found to increase during reproductive age group and also during pregnancy. Again, bilateral oophorectomy due to any reason means hypoestrogenism condition. When it develops, it is found that fibroid is shrinked. So this is the reason the estrogen dependency is considered. It is found more with hyperestrogenic states. Again we'll give weightage why due to hyperestrogenism fibroids are increasing. Like a woman is obese or a girl is obese, or in an increase in estrogen replacement therapies in menopausal women, it is found more. Again, estrogen replacement means getting more estrogenism. Obesity, the androgens will secrete more, will change into more, produce more estrogen. So this adipose tissue excess is not good for normal uterine functioning. Again, it is found to increase with the endometriosis, pelvic inflammatory disease, and cancer endometrium. Means hyperestrogenism is working for development of fibromyoma of uterus, anovulatory infertility, and early menarche. How early menarche? A girl is more and more exposed to estrogen because of early menses and more menstrual cycles compared to a woman who is having normal menarche period. Decreased incidence are also found in athletes. This also gives the importance that low body weight in athletes as well as increased parity have got less chances of getting fibromyalgia. Low birth weight means low adipose tissue, hence conversion in estrogen will be less compared to normal or excess body weight. Increased parity here, she is having less number of menstrual cycle compared to a woman who is nulliparous. So estrogen induces increased expression of progesterone receptors, thus promoting oncogenic effects of progesterone. Coming to again growth factors, which are the growth factors? We'll see now. They are protein polypeptide produced locally by smooth muscle cells and fibroblasts. Appears to promote growth of fibroids primarily by increasing extracellular matrix. Many growth factors are participating in proliferation of the fibrinoid cells. Here, the tumor growth factors, that is beta, basic fibroblast growth factor, increased DNA synthesis, epidermal growth factors, platelet-derived growth factors. For examination point of view, if you write 2 to 3, that is okay. Vascular endothelial factors, insulin growth factors. So these all growth factors which are activated by estrogen progesterone, which are forming through aromatase enzyme by the fibrinoid cells. So there is an androgens which convert more and more estrogen and it upgrades the growth factors. This is the reason why it play important role in hormonal fibroid development. Now we'll see the locations, the site where the fibroid is more prone. Basically, it is divided into two. The growth occurs in the body as well as cervix. We will be looking in the diagram ahead. Body of uterus have got 98% of fibroid compared to cervix. Uterine body, the type of fibroid we will see here, the intramural, or it is also called as interstitial. 75% it is commonest, 75% in occurrence. Then submucous is 10 to 15%. It is coming from the innermost. Interstitial fibroid is growing in the wall of the uterus. If it is projecting with the contracting effect towards the uterine cavity, it may be covered by a thin layer of endometrium. It is called as submucous fibroid. This may be sessile or may become pedunculated due to contractions forcing the tumor downward and forming a peduncle. In subserous fibromyoma, this is again incident 10%. This fibromyoma, when this interstitial is growing towards the peritoneal layer, beneath the peritoneal layer, towards the serosal layer, they are called as subserous fibromyoma. This may again found as a pedunculated, sessile, or torsion may occur or parasitic. I'll explain in pathogenesis how it become parasitic. Before that, we'll see incidence in cervix is less than 5%, called as primary cervical fibromyoma. Now, if these interstitial are single and growing towards the broad ligament, they are called as ligamentary fibroids. Extrauterine are very rare, seen in the vulval or vascular origin. Again, a review exactly. See, this is the intramural or interstitial. If this is going towards the peritoneum layer, just beneath the peritoneal layer, it is called as subserous fibroid. The subserous fibroid may leave the normal uterine wall and become pedunculated. Occasionally, it may get attached to the another vascular organ and may get the nutrition through blood supply through that particular organ. That's why they are also called as parasitic or wandering fibroids. Then submucous. See this, when this intramural is projecting towards the innermost layer, it is covered by the thin layer of endometrium. It is called as submucous. These are usually found sessile or pedunculated. And this one is cervical, which is rare. Now, how this pedunculated submucous fibroid looks, this is the picture. So this is all about sites and locations of uterine fibromyoma. Pathology. Now we'll see a gross pathology, how the tumor looks when it is removed. A typical myoma is a well circumscribed, mostly it is a spherical in shape. It has got a false capsule. We call it as a pseudocapsular surface. Why pseudopathology? Typical myoma is a well circumscribed tumor with a false capsule. Cut surface. On cut surface, we can see pinkish white trabeculations in the periphery, whereas pale in the center. Why it occurs? Because of less blood supply in the center compared to periphery. This capsule is formed of connective tissue, loosely bound connective tissue, which fixes the tumor with the myometrium. Actually, it separates the tumor from the myometrium. This is called as pseudocapsule. Vessels which supply to the blood to the tumor line the capsule and send its radial branches to the tumor. That's why the central part of tumor is comparatively less vascular and it looks pale on cut section. And the degenerative changes are usually noticeable in the center. Calcification at the periphery and spread inwards along the vessels. This calcification, this is one of the secondary change. It is usually seen in the perimenopausal age group. Now the microscopic view is tumor consists of bundles of plain cells mixed with spindle cells as well as admixture of fibrous strands. This is the microscopic appearance of the tumor. Here areas of embryonic muscles tissue may be present.